Pete and I are at the American Monetary Institute conference in Chicago again this year, and it's been a very interesting conference, and we were fortunate enough to meet Professor Kaoru Yamaguchi, who is from Doshisha University in Kyoto, Japan. So, Professor, if you would, could you just explain, briefly the work that's ongoing at your school?
Yes. My university is the second oldest university in Japan, but we started the MBA program recently, about 5 years ago. And last year, we added the English MBA program. And one of the main subjects of our English MBA program is Green MBA program, and which I am a director, and I'm creating a new sustainable business MBA program. And monetary reform or new debt-free money system could be one of the main features which we want to teach as a part of the sustainable business. I have been working on system dynamics macroeconomic modeling for the last almost 5 or 6 years. And after the financial crisis, I thought I have to rethink about the macroeconomic structure which create financial crisis as well as accumulation of debt. So I happened to encounter the Steven Zarenga's book, Lost Science of Money, and it attracted me a lot. And I decided to implement the 3 conditions of monetary reform into my macro model and how the macro model behaves. I was very curious myself, and I created the model, and I finished my simulation a couple months ago, and it turned out to be very fascinating result. First of all, if we adopt American Monetary Act, we can reduce the government debt, and we can attain the higher economic growth. So that means just by changing the macroeconomic structures from debt system of debt into the debt-free money, we can solve many economic problems we are facing, like crisis and debt issues and growth issues. So it turned out to be a very fascinating ideas. And I am convinced by learning my simulation models. That's how I'm very pleased to present my result at this conference in Chicago.
Can you just also, if you don't mind, explain how within your multidisciplinary, as you were explaining it to us, approach and the modeling group, if you will, how they looked at the process and the results?
Well, the System Dynamic Society is an interdisciplinary research group. It contains many specialists with different backgrounds, like engineers, business people, economists, ecologists, psychologists. And I presented my result at the plenary session of the System Dynamic Society conference 2 months ago in Seoul. But there are not so many group of economists. And I talked with the economist group about my model, and basically they really are supportive of my result.
Does it model the effects on inflation? Does it model the effects on employment and those kinds of things,
yes,
Professor?
Well, yes. Once government gets the right to print money, the people are afraid of inflation. Yeah. So I carefully checked whether the American Monetary Act can really reduce, create inflation. And what I found is, as long as our economy is under recessions, so that there will be we call GDP gap. GDP gap is a gap between the potential level of GDP and the current level of aggregate demand. As long as we have GDP gap, government can continue to print money and put into circulation to stimulate the economy without causing inflation. So the simulation model really proved there will be no fear of inflation. And still we can simulate the economy. So that's the best solutions.
Right. Well, but it sounded like, from listening to that, that as long as we had the unused resources and we didn't have the aggregate demand that matched up to the potential for GDP, it was going to be good. But what might happen, once we were at full employment? If you
That's right. If inflation is above certain levels or below certain negative levels, or that means inflationary or deflationary, the head of the central bank, which I like to call the public money administration, because there will be no central bank anymore. Public money administration, that's I call it, because money have to be the public money, so the government have to administrate the public money. So the head of the public money administration have to step down, and the new leader have to take care of the monetary control. So that have to be done by law. So,
can you just give me, your view as to how this monetary system change fits in with the idea of, the sustainable economy and the need for concern about, ecology and resource and those kinds of effects?
Well, the current macroeconomic system of money as debt create many conditions. For instance, even though government want to stimulate the economy, they have to borrow money. And when they borrow money, they have to accumulate this debt. So those are the now constraints. So if we have a debt-free money, the government have a free hand to control the economy. At the same time, under the current macroeconomic system of money as debt, the interest is always forced to be paid, and producers are destined to borrow money because they are always running out of funds, so they are forced to raise funds. But whenever they borrow money, they have to pay the interest rate, interest. So that means they are in a position to be forced to grow at the risk of environment. So under the debt-free money systems, producers need not to worry about the interest. So they can be more conscious of environmental issues.
Right.
So in that sense, debt-free money system is really is the only macroeconomic system to attain the sustainable future. That's what I believe.
Okay.
My macroeconomic simulation model can be run by anyone, and it is just value neutral simulation model. So those who play my simulation and get convinced, they probably will support a debt-free money system, whether they are Republicans or Democrats or the Green parties. We have to change the current system design failure. But the real issue is now the battle of ideas, whether we can still rely on the neoclassical market fundamentalist ideas or the Keynesian regulated policies. But debt-free money is not included in one of all schools. So we are, in a sense, presenting alternative view of economic theories, which can never be developed by economists so far. So in this sense, this can be the new framework which have to be challenged by all economists.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And my simulation model is easily understood by any economist, and they can run simulation and they try to convince by themselves. My model is free, and I'm providing my model to anyone, and the software is also free, so anyone who can download free and run the simulation by themselves. My model consists of step by step. So starting with how money is created, then how interest rate affects the distribution, then we bring the production side, and finally we open up our macro model to the foreign sector. So in this way, step by step, they can learn the macro models, and they bring the conditions of American Monetary Act and see how behavior will be changed. So it could be an interesting learning process.
Very good. Very good. Well, Professor, I want to thank you very much for sitting down with Peter and I. And
thank you very much for the opportunity, and I really enjoy watching your this series, and finally I met the real person to have a good interview.
Thank you, and very much to you. And very much to you.